As you know, following up on Senator Rish's comments on Iran, Iran was designated a state sponsor of terrorism in 1984, following its connection to the 1983 bombings of U.S. Marine personnel in Lebanon, a horrific event. It killed 241 U.S. service personnel. That label on Iran has unfortunately not changed. And just this June, the State Department, in its annual report on global terrorist activity, listed Iran as the state sponsor of terrorism. The report indicated that Iran in 2015, quote, provided a range of support, including financial training, equipment to terrorist groups around the world, including Hezbollah. It has been brought to my attention that between 2003 and 2005, ExxonMobil sold $53 million worth of chemicals and fuel additives to Iranian customers. Alarmingly, Exxon did not originally disclose this business with Iran in its annual 10-K annual report with the SEC in 2006. ExxonMobil only disclosed this information to the SEC after receiving a letter from the SEC asking for explanations. The Securities and Exchange Commission asked Exxon to explain these dealings because Iran at the time was, quote, subject to export controls imposed on Iran as a result of its actions in support of terrorism and in pursuit of weapons of mass destruction and missile programs. It went on to say, we note that your Form 10-K does not contain any disclosure about your operations in Iran, Syria, and Sudan, close quote. Exxon's response has been that the transactions were legal because Infinium, the chemicals joint venture with Shell, was based in Europe and the transaction did not involve any U.S. employees. In other words, this would clearly seem as a move designed to do business with Iran to evade sanctions on Iran. So I have a few questions for you to the extent that you're familiar with this, of the customer at the end of that deal and whether you can ascertain that Exxon was either knowingly or unknowingly potentially funding terrorism. One of the customers in this sales to Iran was the Iranian National Oil Company, which is wholly owned by the Iranian government. The Treasury Department of the United States has determined that that entity is an agent or affiliate of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The IRGC is Iran's main connection to its terrorist activities around the world and pledge allegiance to Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah. In other words, the IRGC and its foreign arm, the Quds Force, are the Ayatollah's army. In fact, they are currently in Syria right now helping Assad remain in power. So can you tell the committee whether these business dealings with Iran did not fund any state-sponsored terrorism activities by Iran?
Senator, as I indicated earlier, I do not recall the details of the circumstances around what you just described. The question would have to go to ExxonMobil for them to be able to answer that.
You have no recollection of this as the CEO?
I don't recall the details around it, no, sir.
This would be a pretty big undertaking to try to circumvent U.S. sanctions by using what may or may not, I'm not ready to make that determination, a legal loophole to do so, but it would be pretty significant. It wouldn't come to your level? It wouldn't come to your level that the Securities and Exchange Commission raised questions with your company about lack of disclosure?
That would happen. I'm just saying I don't recall 2006 would have been the first year that I would have been looking at those things. I just don't recall this one is all I'm saying.
Do you recall whether ExxonMobil was doing business with 3 different state sponsors of terrorism, including Iran, in the first place?
No, I don't recall. Again, I'd have to look back and refresh myself.
I would hope you would do so.